All right, great. So next we have our first guest, Webb Estes. While much of the trucking industry spent the last few years grinding through a brutal downturn, one company didn't just survive, it thrived. Estes Express Lines just had the best operational year in their 94-year history. Record on-time service, lowest claims ratio ever, and one of the biggest network expansions in the industry. Please welcome President and COO, Webb Estes.
Hey, Webb, how are you?
Hey, Julie. Oh, hey, Craig. Thanks for having me. And boy, to be the first guest on a really cool show. I love FreightWaves. You guys have brought so much great energy and wisdom to this industry. So thanks for letting me be a part of it.
Well, we've got a lot of work to do. We're technical. This is the first show, so you're getting to see it live with all of its rivets. It's like a load. When you get a transaction with your most important customer, it inevitably goes wrong. So we apologize for all the technical stuff. We've got some timing stuff that we've got to work on. But really excited. You are our first guest.
Yeah. Well, thank you. And Julie, yeah, you hit on it well. I mean, it's been a whirlwind these last few years, but breaking the record on-time service and lowest claims and best load factor that we had in my 19 years at Estes was quite the surprise, but it was intentional and it was strategic. Can I give you one story that I just love? Freight, they're brown boxes, and so many of our employees, you just see it, and it's how many brown boxes can you see a day? And so last year we put an initiative together on loving freight. And I went a little kooky and made our people have to hug a pallet. So I'd encourage Julie, you and Craig, you guys should hug a pallet too, but kind of recognizing that every shipment matters for a customer. And so we have our customers, we have our employees hugging the pallets and hearing the stories about why that shipment matters. So it's been a really great story. And what I hear from our employees is, wow, I knew I moved 100 pallets a night, but I didn't know that this story changed the lives of this person or this customer. So kind of getting the why question answered has been one of the big things that drove us this past year on improving quality.
Yeah, that's so cool. And we've gotten a chance to speak a little bit prior, and I know that you really put a large emphasis on your people and the culture of your company and doing the right thing and making decisions based on those people versus maybe what you think might be most short-term profitable. Being private is amazing to not have to worry about quarterly earnings and make long-term smart decisions. So can you tell us a little bit more about the culture at your organization and maybe share some stories there?
Sure. Culture is something that takes years to build. I often say that I'm standing on the shoulders of giants. My granddad and great-granddad are pictured behind me, and they were the ones that started this culture that we built. But every day, it means putting your people first and letting them know that they're the ones that make the difference with customers. Julie, one story that comes to mind in April of 2020, when COVID was a real well, where is this world going? What's the business going to be? We sat in this boardroom with my dad and my sister, and we made the decision that we weren't going to lay anybody off. Instead, we were going to offer interest-free loans to our people because everyone was struggling to pay their bills and figure out a way to get through it. You always talk about culture until the tires hit the road and you got to figure out who are you when you grow up. And I've been proud to be a part of an organization that says our people matter and we're going to do whatever it takes to take care of them. And when we do that, it allows us to grow and allows them to get excited about taking care of the customer.
All right, Webb, I've got to ask, the market is insane right now, at least on the truckload side, but are you guys seeing the same impact in the LTL business?
I would say that it's come later for us, but yes, last week was a record for us. We were up maybe 7.5% tonnage last week, which is a big number. And especially when I consider just 2 months ago, we were pretty flat as a company. So yeah, it's coming. And I don't know all the intricacies of what's causing it. Obviously, we've seen, CDLs being removed from different states. We've the Supreme Court ruling. I don't know all of the impacts. If maybe customers are trying to pick carriers that have bigger umbrella policies and good safety records, which Estes is really proud of our safety record. But we are seeing it tick up. It is a very different industry than even 3 months ago. And I think it's a good thing for trucking. I know we've been talking about it for 3 years, but to finally see it coming to fruition, it's a big deal, and it's hard to find capacity right now.
Is there certain commodities that you're seeing really move right now?
I mean, I think what has surprised me is that retail hasn't struggled. I would have expected retail with oil prices and just the price of things to go up, that maybe retail would struggle. And the whole story about manufacturing being stronger, I would have gotten that one. But we're seeing both retail and manufacturing be strong. So no, I saw a story this morning from one of the Family Dollar that, it's a good business for them too. So, I mean, people still need things. Maybe the consumer is being a little more selective, but boy, we see it across the board that things are strong right now.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of the things we've talked about is the fact that AI data centers are sort of driving this reindustrialization. It also looks like military, defense, and energy. What other commodities are you seeing that are really driving the market?
Man, I mean, we're seeing grocery for us. I guess we joke around here that no matter what happens, people need to eat. And we like to eat around here too. So we've definitely seen grocery do stuff. Yeah, I mean, all those sectors play in. For us, the data center hasn't been as big of a move yet. I mean, we're the less than truckload industry. So there's not a whole, right now they're building them. So it's more construction than data center movements. But we are seeing some good movement in the construction industry as well. And we need that. Housing has struggled the last few years. So we're trying to hopefully see a revitalization in our building part of the industry too.
Now, has this year surprised you? Because I think a lot of folks came into, obviously the truckload capacity situation has been pretty substantial. We all know that the compliance crackdown is having a real impact, mostly in truckload. LTL carriers were not, we'll say, take advantage maybe on their brokerage operations, but certainly not bringing on drivers that had non-domiciled CDLs. In fact, that's true of even the largest truckload carriers. We're not really playing in that market. But are you really surprised by call it the robustness of this year?
I am surprised. I think we've been hearing truckload was going to get tighter for, I 2 years now, maybe, right? And it just felt like optimism more than truth. So I am surprised. So I think it's important to know LTL, we're the meat of a sandwich. And we're the smallest sector, right? On the small side, you've got Amazon, FedEx, UPS, Post Office kind of handling the shipments under 100 pounds. And then the biggest one is the large truckload carriers. And they handle 8, 10, 12,000 pounds and up shipments. And so for the last 3 years, those bigger shipments have always gone to truckload because truckload was so desperate for the business. And so we're kind of in this middle ground where everyone was trying to lean into the LTL and take it. And so the struggle for LTL carriers is that we don't know how to say no. When a customer calls, we just go pick it up. And so as truckload has started to tighten, they're pulling away from those 8, 10,000 pound shipments. And you think about it, those are big shipments for an LTL company. You start seeing your weight per shipment grow, and you can run out of line haul capacity pretty quickly. So it makes sense. None of this is surprising when I see what's really happening in truckload at this point. But boy, I didn't expect it to happen so quickly or at the pace that it's happened this year.
Yeah, because it seems like we bounced crazy in terms of this year. I don't think anyone really saw that, Julie.
Yeah, I think we've all been surprised by how quickly everything shifted and changed. And I think you're absolutely right that LTL sees those even bigger swings, right? Because you lose more volume and then even more volume comes back. So what are some key ways you guys are dealing with that? And you mentioned before your line haul capacity can fill up very fast, very quickly. So how does that decision-making process happen? How do you guys use data or other things to ensure that you are choosing the best loads or the best pallets to fill up that available capacity you have?
Sure. I'd love to say it's 100% science. It's probably a mix of art and science. But we use technology. We use Optum for a lot of our load planning. So, one of the nice things is when you have more business, you should be able to build more direct loads across the network. And so had a huge focus in our load factor and doing that. I'll tell you one of the other things that I look like a genius today. I mean, when Yellow went out of business, we bought 52 of their terminals for $490 million. And I didn't expect how much those terminals were going to need in repairs. So we've spent another 120, 130 million getting those facilities up to specs. But it's been really great to see now that we've got these terminals in place. As you grow, you have the ability to load more directs. You have abilities to load more head loads. So the real challenge and opportunity for LTL is as you grow, how can you cut out the extra handlings? How can you build more directs where you cut out your line haul miles? So that's the challenge. But our load factor broke every record last week as well. So we're loading better than we ever have, and that means good stuff. Yeah.
I mean, it's a sign that you talked about being a genius, but then you talked about all the CapEx that takes place to repair. I mean, Yellow was a bottom feeder. I mean, rest in peace, Yellow. As a historian trucker, I'm always sad to lose a company like that because it had such this great story. I know you're not sad about it because it has changed this market and you guys have benefited from it. But when you talk about being right there at the right place, right time, what exactly did that look like for you guys?
Yeah, so I've been to Estes 19 years and worked in a terminal, drove a truck, ran a terminal. And so for a long period of time, I had been pushing our team to add more facilities, build. And it took me about 4 years to realize that very few communities are like, yay, LTL trucking terminal. That's what we want there. And so feeling the pain of that for several years, when the Yellow opportunity presented itself, this was kind of a get out of jail free card, right? This was like wow, like I can just turn the key and have these opportunities right in front of us. And so now I realize that I'm in a very unique position, right? We're debt free, we're privately held. I love trucking. I plan on doing this for another 30 years. And so all of my decisions and our team's decisions are, what can we do that's going to prepare us for the next 95 years at Estes? And so it was a no-brainer, right? We had, I would have loved all the terminals, but you have to kind of pick your moments. But we paid a pretty penny for it. But what it's allowed us to do is take care of our people and take care of our customers. And being privately held allows us to do that. I mean, I don't have to make a decision to hit a quarterly goal. I don't even know when our quarters end, right? Like for us, the focus is how can I put us in a better position 3 years from now? And so when it happened, I'll give you a quick example real quick. We also bought 7,000 Yellow trailers. And honestly, it was the one thing I wouldn't tell FreightWaves or anybody because I was getting such a good deal. I didn't want anyone to know. So we bought 7,000 trailers. The average pup, which is a shorter trailer, we bought it for $5,000, and they were average age of 3 years. And a new pup today is $40,000. So I figure we saved about $230 million by basically being willing to say yes, even though we didn't need them that day. We knew we were going to need them soon. And so dreaming and thinking, how can you just take a step forward? Now for the next 18 years, I'm going to save about $12 million on my P&L because of those trailers being in our fleet. So it's been a good thing.
What are you seeing in terms of yield? How are yields working? I mean, Yellow, the last time we had a peak market during COVID, Yellow was still a market participant, and they were reputable, their reputation, I should say, is sort of the lower end of the market. They were known as a bottom feeder, sort of feeding off the bottom, creating pressure for the other LTL guys because you all have to compete against the folks at the bottom of the market. They're no longer in the market. How is that helping you guys gain and yield?
Yeah, so the thing I'll call about Yellow first, I just want to say, I mean, there were 30,000 teammates there that lost jobs. And so I know you said we were rooting, it was good for us. It was good for the LTL industry, but I do want to call out, we've hired some of the, I mean, like it's a hard place. It's a hard story to start from. what it did do is there's a supply and demand, and it did take a lot of capacity out of the space. So at Estes, we've been named the top value carrier from Mastio the last 4 years, the top value national carrier. And there are days when I wish Estes, like our focus was, we're just going to be the most expensive, but every shipment is like perfect, right? Or we're just going to be super cheap. And I wish that sometimes I was like, that'd be the easiest way to sell a customer. This is exactly what you get. But what we have really strived to do is how can we bring value to every shipment in our system? And so what that means is how do you take out all the inefficiencies, but also do something that's going to provide value to the customer? And so, sure, there are carriers that probably provide different levels of service and price, but I mean, we're up 18% tonnage over the last 3 years, up more tonnage than any of the public national carriers out there. And so for us, we believe that when we grow, it's a good thing for our customers because then we can build more directs, but it's also a great thing for your people. And when your people are winning freight and finding new opportunities to go to our driving schools or become full-time or all the things that, like, so many good things happen when you're growing. So for us, sure, you look at the economy and you look at price and you try and find like where you can bring value. But for us, it's been fun to grow and look long term and not just how do I make more money this quarter? No, it's how do you take care of your customers because you want them to be with you for a long time.
Yeah, I mean, that's a really important thing. I got to ask, because AI is obviously taking the storm. The public markets are absolutely ripping. We've talked about the impact in freight and certainly on the flatbed operators, how much that's impacting the market. But as it relates to what you guys are doing specifically around AI and automation, I would love to hear it. You've got some participation in Venture 53. There's some connection there. At least a lot of your former executives are there. What is your thoughts around technology and automation?
Sure. So, technology is one of those things that 15 years ago, like when I was starting working in the IT group, I was always worried that the big guys, the FedExes and the UPSs, were going to run away with this technology thing, right? And I was always scared. Then I woke up one day and we have the second most tonnage in the industry. And so I started realizing, hey, maybe we're a little bigger. And so we have taken a different stance the last 5 years to say, we're actually going to push the industry forward. We want to, what can we do that no one's done before so we can wow our customers? So for example, if you get a rate quote on our website, we'll tell you what our on-time service was for, in that lane. Right? So we're trying to say, hey, how can we be open? How can we be honest? How can we connect to our customers further? So some of that is just other tech things. We obviously work with P44 and SMC and all the integrators to try and create more information like pickup visibility and ETAs at stops and all those types of things. But you asked AI. Yes, we're using AI for lots of stuff. Honestly, right now, it's a trial thing. Like we're like, how many things can we try? What can make it, how can we find a nugget of doing something faster? The other thing we've done, I'm sure this is a terrible public strategy, but being private, we've said, hey, what are the things that we've never done because it was too cost prohibitive? Like you have to add people. And so what we decided to do was, what are things like, hey, can we call and make sure a shipment's ready? So we don't have to have drivers do that. So we're actually spending a lot of our AI resources on the things we haven't been able to do before that really make a better experience for the customer. And I'm sure we'll get into the cost saving things, but for right now, we've enjoyed trying to wow and think differently about what we can do.
That's amazing, and thank you. And it's so cool that you guys are using data and that open and honest communication and transparency with your customers. So President and COO of Estes Express, Webb Estes, thank you for joining us for our first episode of FreightWaves Today, and we hope to have you back soon.
And our first guest. I mean, not only first episode, Webb, that first dollar bill, we need to have like an inaugural dollar bill or inaugural truck, I guess.
I will find a dollar bill and send it to you. I'm honored that you guys let me be a part of this. Thank you for all you're doing, and I look forward to tuning in every day.
We can hug a pallet. If we did hug a pallet, we can hug it. That's what we need to do here. Send us a pallet. We need an Estes pallet that we can put here on set to represent. We'll hug it every morning.
I will do that. Thank you guys so much.
Appreciate it, Webb. Thank you.
All right, up next,